We are so pressed for time. What is...
Mr. Speaker, honorable members, underground number 7, our allegation is that there are serious reasons to believe that His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua has committed crimes under Section 45(1), 46, 47(a)(3), and 48(1) of the Anti-Corruption and Economic Crimes Act, as well as Sections 2, 3, 4, and 7 of the Proceeds of Crime and the Money Laundering Act. And in short, during the short period that I was doing research on this motion, I have come across properties that are registered in the name of the Deputy President or in the name of his children or other proxies that run cumulatively to a value of about 5.2 billion. And there is no clear trace of where the monies to purchase those properties came from, and therefore, under the Anti-Corruption and Economic Crimes Act, qualify to be unexplained assets. Number 2, I have also listed companies that are associated with the Deputy President, 22 of them. And these companies, you look at the objects and purposes, they are all the same. And it is our theory and our evidence that these companies have been used for money laundering. Similarly, I have also listed companies that have been transacting with the office of the Deputy President, the office held by the Deputy President, His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua, with tremendous respect. And they are being paid from that office, and we have laid ground for serious reasons to believe that these companies are actually conduits for corruption, and that political responsibility, even when he's not the accounting officer, rests with the highest holder of that office. And that is the case we are making here. And we shall be showing the connection between the properties and His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua. And in a case of unexplained assets, it is upon the person to show where they actually got the money to buy the assets. We have evidence that the assets belong to him.
Let's begin with the companies, Honorable Mutuse. You said you have attached Form CR12 to your motion.
Indeed, I have attached Form CR12 being evidence of ownership of those companies.
Would that be the Form CR12 on pages 8 all the way to 32 of Volume 2A?
Indeed, yes.
Honorable Speaker, it's Volume 2A, pages 8 to 32. It actually begins, Honorable Speaker, it's me who is mistaken. It's from page 1 to 32, right?
Indeed, yes.
And because we are stressed for time, sir, does this document show in black and white that the majority of these companies, the directors and shareholders, are either the Deputy President or his sons or his spouse?
Yes, they do, and senators will have opportunity to look at the Form CR12s. Many of them are under 2 weeks old, so they are very recent.
Let's go to the question of the purchase
and
of...
You can also independently confirm from the e-Citizen portal, it is only 650 shillings to do as a company search.
You have mentioned Treetops Hotel and Outspan Hotel in paragraph 45A.
Yes, indeed.
Let's confirm whether this is false, ridiculous, or embarrassing. Did the Deputy President issue a public address on the 7th of October in which he admitted acquiring these 2 hotels?
Yes, indeed, and it is part of our evidence.
So with that admission from him, can he be here to say your allegations are false, ridiculous, and embarrassing?
That is not expected from the son of Mau Mau.
Let's go to page 33, sir, of your volume 2A.
Mr. Speaker, sir, we have been patiently waiting and restraining myself from raising.
Pause the time for the National Assembly, please. Proceed, Council.
I've been constraining myself when listening to the proceedings. And counsel is testifying instead of the witness testifying. Number 2, he's asking leading questions in examination in chief. And counsel understands the rules of examination.
A case in point, you're very general. A case in point?
The Hansons, Mr. Speaker, sir, will bear us witness, and the Senate is a custodian of the Hanson.
Council, I'm very alert. Any leading questions before you take your feet, I'll be able to object to it. I'm very alert to that. Proceed, Council.
Much obliged, Mr. Speaker. Let's go to page 33, sir. What is that document? On volume 2A?
On page 33, this is a discharge of charge between Wayne Holdings Limited and Aberdare Safari Lodges Limited.
Yes.
Drawn by the firm of Hamilton, Harris and Matthews.
On page 34, what is given as the amount of the loan being discharged?
The loan being discharged is 143,885,042 shillings.
Please confirm this loan is being discharged as of 30th October 2023.
Yes, the loan is being discharged as at of 30th October 2023. And the loan was to Aberdare Safari Hotels Limited.
Would that mean this hotel was indebted before the Deputy President acquired it?
It was in evidence.
To what amount?
143,885,042 shillings.
Let's go to page 37. What is that document you have annexed, sir?
The document I've annexed here is the transfer instrument. Transfer to companies and limited liability partnerships.
Yes.
It is it's a document ordinarily that is used to transfer
interest in what?
Interest in property from one party to the next.
And who is acquiring that property according to this document?
The property, as at this time, belonged to Aberdare Safari Hotels Limited and is being transferred to Crystal Kenya Limited.
Is Crystal Kenya Limited a company linked to the Deputy President?
Yes, indeed, and we have annexed the Form CR12.
In which page?
The Form CR12 is on page 23 of our
Volume 2A.
Of our Volume 2A.
Who are given as the directors there?
The directors are one Keith Ikino Rigathi.
Who is that?
That is a son to Honorable Rigathi Gachagua.
Yes.
And the second director is Kevin Gachagua Rigathi.
Yes.
Also a son.
Now let's go back to 37. As the Deputy President in his response explained, where he got more than $500 million shillings, and to be precise, 535 million to acquire this hotel.
To begin with, the consideration for this transfer was Kenya shillings 535 million, and this needs to be added to the loan of 143 million.
Yes.
Cumulatively.
Yes.
So that you get the value, because the value of in terms of what was the purchase.
Yes.
In his response, and I have seen it, the Deputy President alludes that he got a loan of 600 million, that when he became Deputy President, he used to run this company called Crystal, but when he became Deputy President, he gave it to his children to run it. And he goes further to say that he got a loan of 600 million from the Credit Bank of Kenya.
Has he actually placed before this Senate evidence of the disbursement of any such loan?
I have seen a letter of offer for that loan, but I have not seen any evidence of disbursement nor any charge in respect of that loan.
Is a letter of offer loan evidence that a loan has actually been given?
A letter of offer is just that, an offer.
That letter is annexed of offer, says that as security for the supposed loan, there will be directors' guarantees. Has he annexed those directors' guarantees?
To the best of my recollection, I have not seen them.
It says the loan will be secured by personal guarantees. Has he also annexed those personal guarantees?
I have not seen them.
Has he annexed any security known in the banking world for acquiring a loan of this amount?
What I have seen is, what I have seen in the letter of offer is at, I'm looking at it, is in terms of the lien and set-off at
Yes.
page 132 or 534, is that lien and set-off of a fixed
Please
deposit.
say which volume you're referring to and the page so that the Senate will walk with you.
Council, the senators would wish to know where the letter of offer is contained. Which volume?
The letter of offer,
and what,
Mr. Speaker,
which page? What page?
It's in volume 6.
is in volume 6, starting from page 98.
Yes, walk us through that letter of offer.
So there is a letter of offer, meaning there was an application for a loan. And this is to the directors of Crystal Kenya Limited. Crystal Kenya Limited is the company that is acquiring Aberdare Safari lodges. And the loan is in respect of an amount of 600 million. And in the clause for lien and set-off, I have seen that a lien and set-off or fixed deposits, this is on page 99, in respect of INO Crystal Kenya Limited for an aggregate amount of 300 million to be obtained. Interest accrued shall be credited to your deposit settlement account.
Let's stick to that one for now. From elementary banking knowledge, what do we conclude from this issue of the 300 million?
My understanding is that the account held at the bank had 300 million shillings in cash, and that that amount was going to be part of the security for the loan.
So it means the deputy president or his sons had already cash in that account of 300 million shillings.
Yes, which is also an asset that we are counting in accumulating the 5.2 billion.
Now let's count that 300 million, 535 million, and the 143 million that had been to be paid to pave way for this transaction.
Indeed, yes.
In estimate, that would be like how much money?
535 plus 300
is 835.
835 plus 143, roughly $1 billion shillings.
Roughly $1 billion shillings.
In respect of one transaction.
Just one property. Now, if the deputy president were to save all his net salary for 10 years, would he be able to have savings of $1 billion shillings to acquire this hotel?
Not at all.
But because
from the legitimate source of income, which is his salary as deputy president, as gazetted by the SRC, roughly around 1.2 billion after taxation, an aggregate of $1 million shillings, it would not be possible to acquire $1 billion shillings within a period of 2 years.
Now, these three figures, sir, whether it is the 143 million or the 300 million or the 535 million, as the deputy president in his response offered any legitimate explanation of how he or his very young sons came upon this incredible fortune of money?
Nowhere in the response, other than the letter of offer that is in itself not evidence of acquiring a loan.
At page 39, who are shown as the parties to this transaction for Abadere's hotel?
Page 39 of
volume 2A.
Page 39 of volume 2A. The parties to this transaction for Crystal Kenya Limited, Kevin Gachagua Rigathi and Keith Ikino Rigathi. For Aberdare Safari Hotels, there is Robert Gadenji,
Yes.
and Kenneth Waiboshi.
Are those two gentlemen you mentioned first related to the Deputy President?
Indeed, they are his children.
As a matter of fact, Honorable Mutusa, and will do it in the closing statement, does our Public Officer Ethics Act or the Leadership and Integrity Act, faced with facts like this, permit the Deputy President to hide behind his sons?
Not at all.
Is he allowed to hide behind any of his relatives?
Not at all.
What about his spouse?
Not at all.
So even if the Senate were to accept, for argument's sake, that this company is run by the sons and whatnot, would that, based on our Public Officer Ethics Act or the other act, which is the leadership, and would that be a valid answer to this unexplained wealth?
Section 35 of the Leadership and Integrity Act.
Please say the volume you're reading.
I'm reading from volume 7 in our bundle of documents at page 34. Acting through others. A state officer contravenes the code if the officer A causes anything to be done through another person that would constitute a contravention of the code if done by the state officer, or allows or directs a person under their supervision or control to do anything that is in contravention of the code.
Mr. Speaker, acting through others is what previously I have called it wasn't me. But let's jump to page 79 of volume 2A.
Yes, we are here.
Again, this is documentation for that same property the Deputy President admits he acquired, right?
Yes, through Aberdare. Just for contextualization, Aberdare owned 2 hotels.
Yes.
There is Treetops Hotel.
Yes.
And there is
which one?
Outspan.
Yes.
Outspan is the one that we have demonstrated how it was purchased. Treetops is a property developed by the Kenya Wildlife Service, but it was under the same management of Aberdare, so they were acquired together.
So let's pause at it is owned by the Kenya Wildlife Service.
Yes.
Is the Kenya Wildlife Service a public or a private entity?
A public entity funded by the taxpayers.
Under our Chapter 6 laws, that is the Public Officer Ethics Act, the Leadership and the Integrity Act, if you want, you can even draw the Public Procurement and Disposal Act, whichever law. Is it consistent with all those laws for the Deputy President of the Republic to acquire without competitive bidding an interest in a resource owned by the Kenya Wildlife Service?
It is not. And in fact, the Deputy President is on record in these proceedings as having said that he advised his family not to transact with government. But we are going to demonstrate that he actually transacted with KWS.
And KWS is a public entity?
And KWS is a public entity.
If this hotel were to be leased or sold, or whatever the language, would there be a requirement for open, competitive, and transparent bidding?
Section 45, which we said we have reasonable grounds to believe that the Deputy President has breached of the Anti-Corruption and Economic Crimes Act. And I'm reading our volume 7 at page 23, states as follows. Protection of public property and revenue. A person is guilty of an offense if the person fraudulently or otherwise unlawfully A, acquires public property or public service or benefit, B, mortgages, charges, or disposes of any public property, C, damages public property including causing a computer or another electronic machinery to perform any function that directly or indirectly results in a loss or adversely affects any public revenue or service, or fails to pay any taxes or any fees, levies, charges payable to any public body, or effects or obtains an exemption, remission, reduction, or abatement from payment of any such taxes, levies, and fees. Section 46, about abuse of office. A person who uses his office to improperly confer a benefit on himself or anyone else is guilty of an offense.
Now, let's go to page 81 of volume 2A, sir. It's still about Treetops Hotel.
Page
81 of volume 2A.
I'm there.
Can you read for us the last sentence of the second paragraph?
This is a letter. This is a letter from the Kenya Wildlife Service.
Yes.
To Mr. Amos Kisilo of Kisilo and Wandati Company Advocates.
It's a letter dated when?
The letter is dated
at the top left. What is the date?
5th of June, 2023.
Was His Excellency, the Honorable Rigathi Gachagua, the Deputy President of Kenya on that date?
Yes.
It is addressed to who?
It is addressed to Kisilo, Wandati and Company Advocates.
In the Deputy President's own response, is that law firm indicated as one of the law firms he uses?
Yes, indeed.
Good. Now read for us the second paragraph of that letter, beginning with the word however.
However, the tenant is in rent arrears of Kenya shillings 35,481,548, and lodge has not been operational since 2019, which has resulted to deterioration of the same in breach of the lease agreement.
So we are being told this hotel a number of things. One, it has not been in operation for 4 years, correct?
Indeed.
And as a result, it has accumulated rent arrears, correct or incorrect?
And deteriorated, which in effect means it requires renovation money.
Now let's go to page 80 where the Deputy President develops interest in the hotel.
I'm here.
Can you read the opening line of that, the first paragraph of that letter?
Mr. Speaker, Honorable Senators, this is a letter from Kisilo, Wandati and Company Advocates to the Director General of the Kenya Wildlife Service. The opening sentence reads as follows. We act for a party, into brackets our client, who is interested in taking on an assignment of lease of the Treetops Hotel Lodge as defined in the lease agreement dated 31st December 1998 between yourselves and Aberdare Safari Lodges Limited, the lessee.
Please confirm this is a letter by the Deputy President's lawyers.
This indeed is a letter by the Deputy President lawyers, but funny enough, against any all professional knowledge in terms of how you write letters, they do not disclose their client. They just say,
we act for a party. Who is our? Does that letter disclose the identity of the client anywhere?
No, it doesn't. And it is a requirement that you must disclose the client even as you move ahead.
Is that how lawyers usually write letters in honest, genuine transactions?
Not at all.
Good. Now let's go.
And I am one of them, so I know.
Let's go to page 83 of volume 2A. What is written there?
Page 83 is a letter to Dr. Kanga, Director General Acting, Kenya Wildlife Service from Aberdare Safari Hotels.
So,
it is about Treetops Lodge debt and lease.
Please hold 83 together with 81. In 81, we are told the hotel has not been in operation for 4 years, and that's why it's in rent arrears, right?
Yes, rent arrears of upwards of 35 million.
And that is on which date?
This is on 5th of June, 2023.
And the letter at page 83 is on what date?
It's 7th of July, 2023, a month later.
How many days in between, roughly?
Roughly a month, 30 days or so.
Roughly a month. And what does this letter say?
The letter says, I refer to Treetops rent arrears debt of Kenya shillings 35,481,548 and 14 cents, and I am pleased to inform you that the Aberdare Safari Hotels Limited has today paid via RTGS bank transfer amount of 34,869,797, to KWS main collection Standard Chartered Bank account and the amount of 611 to KRIF for 2% withholding tax.
So, Honorable Mutuse, what do you have to tell the Senate of the fact a company that was in arrears for 4 years, that is 5 million, it is in distress, it's not in operation, the Deputy President shows interest, and suddenly it is able to pay these arrears of that 5 million?
The Deputy President must be magical. Associating with the Deputy President must be very magical, because you have not operated for over 4 years, you are in debt, you have not been able to service that debt for 4 years, but you have just interacted with him for a month, and you pay your debt overnight.
Now, when you see that, sir, is it consistent with the narrative that your allegations are false, ridiculous, and embarrassing?
Not at all. Indeed, our allegations are backed up by cogent evidence, as we have demonstrated.
What is the document at page 85 of volume 2A?
At page 85, this is a letter by Kenya Wildlife Service to our one Ken Waiboshi, who is the managing director of Aberdare Safari Lodges, and it is acknowledgement of funds. We acknowledge, the letter reads as follows in paragraph 2, we acknowledge receipt of Kenya shillings 34,481.
As the Deputy President in his response explained, the mysterious availability of this, that 5 million shillings, when he comes to the picture?
I have not seen anywhere where he explains where this money came from.
Page 87, what is that document?
At page 87.
Oh, volume 2A, Mr. Speaker.
This is novation and assignment of lease agreement and addendum to lease dated 31st December 1998 and 27th July 2023, respectively, between Kenya Wildlife Service, Aberdare Safari Lodges Limited, and Crystal Kenya Limited, the company of interest.
Does this confirm, just like the deputy admitted, that he actually acquired Treetops Hotel?
Indeed, it confirms, and it is not. It has not been contested.
Is your allegation, therefore, Mr. Mutuse, about Treetops, false, ridiculous, and embarrassing?
Come again?
The evidence you just taken the Senate through about Treetops Hotel, is it consistent with the narrative of a move of motion who makes ridiculous, false, and embarrassing claims?
Not at all. It demonstrates that our allegations are not malicious. They are backed.
Let's go to his response in volume 6. It should be page 8, if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Speaker. Eight of volume 6.
Yes, there we are. Volume 6. On page.
Okay. Is page 9?
Yes.
At the top of page 9, what does the Deputy President in his response to the National Assembly tell it?
He says, in respect to Crystal Kenya Limited, this company was incorporated in 2009, way before I became Deputy President.
Let's pause there. Is that a valid response to your motion, the date when the company was incorporated?
I am interested in what the company did when Mr. Gachagua is Deputy President, and not when the company was incorporated.
Okay, read for us the next line.
I transferred the company to my sons when I became Deputy President.
Is that a valid answer given the things we've just seen about Treetops and Outspan?
It confirms that the sons indeed are acting on his behalf.
Read the next line, please.
It acquired Outspan Hotel and Treetops Hotel following financing by a local bank. I also gave the company a personal loan from funds which were returned to me by the Asset Recovery Agency. I wish to clarify that Treetops Hotel was not bought. It is leased from KWS. The lease was assigned to Crystal Kenya Limited by a private company, Aberdare Safari Hotels Limited. I have annexed the facility letter dated 24th October, as well as the company resolution to borrow Kenya shillings 600 million and marked as Annexure RG 14 and Annexure RG 15 respectively.
Let's go to page 44. This relates to the property called Rogoro Kiamariga 1223.
This is in volume 2?
2A. Volume 2A, Mr. Speaker, page 44. Please confirm from the Deputy President's response whether he has admitted acquiring this property.
Yes, he admits acquiring the property, but goes ahead to make some justifications.
Page 44, Mr. Speaker, volume 2A. The justification he makes is to what effect?
Is that the acreage is different.
Yes.
And also that he bought it for 3.5 million and not 5 million as alleged.
Now let's 44. What is that document?
This is a document transfer by person or representative to person on intestacy. Basically.
And who is given that transfer? Who is making it?
A certain Naftali Guandraru Gadhogo.
Can you read the opening line of that document?
Public Trustee of the Republic of Kenya, or PO Box 49672 Nairobi, as personal representatives of Naftali Garandau Gadhogo, deceased, hereby transfer to Hannah Gadhongo Mugo. Absolutely.
Who is the public trustee a public officer?
The public trustee is a public office. Under
what circumstances, to the best of your knowledge, does the public trustee obtain letters of administration of an estate, in this case the estate of the deceased Naftali Gwandaru Gadhogo?
In terms of the law of succession, the public trustee only steps in where there are no beneficiaries of a deceased person's estate.
The person to whom the trustee is transferring, is there a picture given there?
Yes, it is given, and I will invite honorable senators to look at it.
What observation do you want them to make about it?
Well, this is a photograph of, I do not want to say disheveled, old lady who signs by appending her thumb, signifying probably she was not even aware of the transaction.
Has she signed or affixed a thumbprint?
A thumbprint.
On the face of it, does that look like a privileged or vulnerable and marginalized Kenyan?
The very vulnerable.
Mr. Speaker, sir, kindly allow me again to bring to the attention of the Assembly that the advocate is leading the witness. He has put a question. Does that, in your own imagination, look like a vulnerable person?
Objection sustained. Counsel for National Assembly, stop leading the witness.
I'm much guided, Mr. Speaker, so we'll proceed. We're on page?
We are on page 44.
44. Did the Deputy President, in his response, disclose that this property initially belonged to a deceased person?
No.
Did he, in his response, disclose that this property was initially vested on the public trustee?
No, he didn't.
Let's go to his response at paragraph 1.4.2, which is on volume 6, Mr. Speaker. Page 4 of volume 6. Can you read paragraph 1.4.2 of the Deputy President's response?
I purchased the land in the year 2023 for Kenya shillings 3.5 million for my farm proceeds. Some of you are aware that I have dairy farm with close to 200 cows.
Now let's see who is saying things that are embarrassing, false, and ridiculous. What is the price he has said he acquired it for in that page?
3.5 million Kenya shillings.
Let's go to the agreement he has attached to show how he purchased this property. It is at page 63 of the same volume.
I am here.
Clause number 3, what is given as the purchase price?
The purchase price is Kenya shillings 5 million only, to be paid as follows.
Is that consistent?
This is,
volume,
this is
6.
volume 6.
We are holding, Mr. Speaker, volume 6, pages 4 and 63. No, it is page 4 of 534 and page 96 of 534. The problem, Mr. Speaker, is there are two sets of pagination. So the one we refer to is the one that says of 534. So we are talking of page 4 of 534. You hold that together with page 96 of 534. My apologies, Mr. Speaker.
In other words, go to page 4 and page 96 of
534. Of volume 6.
Yes.
We'll shortly take you to the paragraphs.
Mr. Speaker, you know I'm under a lot of pressure because of the time. That's why sometimes. So, are we all there, honorable senators? Good. Can you read again for the Senate on page 4 of 534 what the Deputy President says was the purchase price for this property?
This is land parcel number Ruguru, Kiamariga, 1223 in Madeira East constituency. That is on page 3. And on page 4, the Deputy President says, I purchased the land in 2023 for Kenya shillings 3.5 million for my farm proceeds.
Let's pause it there. He bought it for 3.5 million. Let's go to the document he has annexed to prove that he acquired this property for 3.5 million. It is at page 96 of 534.
Indeed, this is agreement for sale of the whole of LR number title Ruguru Kiamariga 1223, measuring approximately 2.5 acres. And under clause 3, the purchase price is Kenya shillings 5 million to be paid as follows.
Given this inconsistency, sir, is it fair for the Deputy President, when he is lying on his own document, to accuse you of presenting material that is false, ridiculous, and embarrassing?
It is not fair, and also especially when one of our allegations against the Deputy President is that he consistently misleads the public.
He says that he bought it in the year, back to page 4 of 534, in the year 2023. Was that during his tenure as Deputy President?
Indeed.
He says he has a dairy farm there with 200 cows.
Indeed, he says so.
In his presser on the 7th of October 2024, what did he tell the country was the source of these 200 cows?
If I remember correctly, in the televised address by the Deputy President on that fateful night, he did say that the Kalenjin people of the Rift Valley have gifted him the cows that he keeps in his farm.
Can you now read for us Article 76(1) of the Constitution, what it says about gifts given to public officers?
Article 76, financial property of state officers. 76(1). A gift or donation to a state officer or a public or official on a public or official occasion is a gift or donation to the Republic and shall be delivered to the state unless exempted under an act of Parliament.
Has the Deputy President presented any evidence that he surrendered these gifts to the state?
He says that he has kept them in his farm.
Wouldn't that be an admission by his own public statement of violating Chapter 6?
Indeed, it is an admission and should be treated as such.
Let's go to the land in Meru. Have you placed any evidence to prove this allegation?
I have placed evidence to prove that the Deputy President indeed acquired land in Meru, and to the best of my recollection, he has also admitted in his response to having bought land in Meru.
I now want you to vote volume 8 against, again, the Deputy President's response. Yes. Let's go to, first of all, volume 6, which is the Deputy President's response. What does he say about the Olive Garden Hotel? In summary, it's clause 1.1.1 all the way.
For clarity, Council, so
yes.
We leave the issue of Meru, we'll come to
We'll come to it later, don't worry. Let's deal with Olive Garden Hotel for now. Volume 6 of, which is the Deputy President's response. We
made an allegation that the Deputy President has bought Olive Garden Hotel through proxies.
Volume 6, page?
Volume 6, page 2 of 534.
2?
Yes, page 2 of 534.
Mr. Speaker, Honorable Senators, in my motion, I made allegations that the Deputy President has bought the Olive Garden Hotel, initially owned by his late brother. And in response, the Deputy President said as follows: the allegation that I own Olive Garden Hotel is false. The truth is that Olive Garden Hotel used to belong to my deceased brother, the late Honorable James Nderito Gachagua, and therefore has never been my property. This is information that most of you may be aware of, as it is in the public domain. Upon his demise, my late brother left a will in which, in his recognition that I am an honest man.
We can leave it there, and honest man is written in bold, right?
He appointed me as one of the executors of his estate.
Now, is the DP's response about Olive Garden, which runs from page 2 to 3, consistent with the affidavit in the National Assembly's volume 8 by Peterson, Jomo, Mushira?
Maybe so that we can point members. On volume 8, we have the affidavit of Mr. Peterson, Jomo Mushira. And
tell us in summary, because we are so pressed for time.
Peterson Jomo Mushira says, I have personal knowledge of one of the issues raised in the special motion for the removal from office by impeachment of Mr. Rigathi Gachagua, the Deputy President. I have personal knowledge of the facts relating to the sale of Olive Garden Hotel, which initially formed part of the estate of the late Nderito Gachagua. Given the matters set out in the preceding paragraph, I am competent to swear this affidavit. I decided to swear this affidavit after my attention was drawn to contradictions between the contents of part 1.1 on pages 1-2 of the response that His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua filed at the National Assembly on 8th October in opposition to the special motion, remarks made by Honorable Okomas Mwengi National Assembly, and remarks made by Honorable Kimani Ichung'wah at the National Assembly. Remarks made by members of the Assembly.
Let's go to the next paragraph in the interest of time.
I wish to clarify and state as follows. I am a shareholder and director of TM Civil Engineering Limited, the company referred to in the agreement annexed on pages 10 to 34 of the Deputy President's response to the motion. On around 31st of March 2023, the Deputy President approached and convinced me to purchase the Olive Garden Hotel, which was at the time part of the estate of the late Nderito Gachagua.
Let's go to D.
In D, he averts that in summary...
Now let's go to C.
No, C. The Deputy President persuaded me to enter into an informal secret arrangement, regarding the transaction embodied in the agreement annexed on page 10 to 34 of his response to the motion. In summary, the terms of the secret agreement were that, 1, the Deputy President would buy the hotel from me by refunding the purchase price of 412 million set out in the agreement annexed on page 10 to 34 of his response. 2, the Deputy President would instruct and pay a contractor to renovate the hotel after the completion of the transaction embodied in the agreement. 3, President's undisclosed interest in the hotel, I would appoint Ms. the signatory or agent for the Cooperative Bank of Kenya And 4, to further protect the Deputy President's undisclosed interest, Mrs. Juliani Jahenda will run the hotel.
That Ms. Julian Jahenda, is it the same person mentioned in volume 8A on page 1 of 19? Volume 8A.
Yes, this is a letter from the Public Service Commission.
So does that mean we have two sources, one being Jomo Mushira? It is.
We are on volume 8A, page 1 of 19.
And there is an entry there, the third name in that table. If you look at
the names, you have the first one, the second one, and the third one is Maka Juliani Jahenda.
Is that the same?
Who is our Deputy Director in charge of coordination in the presidency at the Office of the Deputy President, working on a local contract.
Who is the author of this document?
The author of this document is the Public Service Commission of Kenya.
Does this document, is it consistent with what Johnson Mushira said in his affidavit about Julian Jahenda?
It shows that Julian Jahenda is a staff and a close associate of the Deputy President, and she's the same person who was seconded to manage his interest at the Olive Garden Hotel.
The acquisition of this hotel through a secret arrangement from the estate of his brother, is it consistent with a honest man as written in bold font in his response?
It is indeed consistent with our allegation that His Excellency the Deputy President raided the estate of his late brother and acquired properties directly and through proxy.
Lastly, from me, so that Mr. Onyema will wrap up, let's go to the Vipingo property that also belongs